Hi guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Charlotte Mason. If you're new here, I'm Sarah and I use this channel to talk about homeschooling in the Charlotte Mason approach and also doing it with children who present unique challenges that may go against the common grain with homeschooling, traditional approaches, and even the Charlotte Mason approach. I homeschool a child who has PDA. This is Pathological Demand Avoidance, and it's more commonly known now as a PDA profile within autism. And today I wanted to share with you a video that I wish I had years ago. Because when PDA first started showing up in my homeschool, I really struggled with it. I thought I was dealing with laziness, I thought I was dealing with stubbornness, inconsistency, and a lack of discipline. And I really did think that I was failing as her mother and her teacher. But over time, I realized something deeper was happening. So today I want to share with you the 10 ways in which PDA has shown up in our homeschool, in real life, in ordinary ways, and in case it helps another family to feel less alone as they walk this journey too. So number 1, refusing the very thing they asked for. Have you ever had a child ask to do paint or bake or read or do a project or something, and then the moment everything is set up, they suddenly refuse? Oh my goodness, this has happened in our home. I did not understand that once the activity became real or structured, or because you'd set it up, it was now an expectation, that to the child, it can suddenly feel like a demand that they can't meet. So what looked confusing on the outside was actually often anxiety welling up underneath. Number 2, freezing at small tasks. Things that seemed so simple to me could feel enormous to my child. Putting on shoes. Picking up a pencil. Opening a book. Coming to the table. I used to think, but it's such a small thing. But now that I understand nervous system overwhelm, and the fact that nervous system overwhelm does not measure tasks the same way that my logic does, it was a big game changer. Number 3, negotiating everything. Sometimes every request becomes a discussion, especially when you wish it didn't. Can I do it later? Can I do only one question? Can I stand while doing it? Can we do history first instead? Why do I need to? I once saw this as a form of defiance, but now I can see it as a search for autonomy and safety within our lessons. Number 4, loving learning but resisting lessons. This was one of the most confusing parts for me. I had a child who loves stories, notices nature, remembers things, and is genuinely curious about the world around her. But every time it came time to sit down and do our lessons, everything fell apart. So separating the two kind of helped me outline which was our learning experience for her that was tailored in a way that she would understand and enjoy versus school-shaped expectations that she saw as demands. Number 5, needing to lead the process. Sometimes the content wasn't the issue. It was who chose it, who decided when it started, where it started, where it happened, how long it lasted, and what tools we used during that lesson. Offering choices throughout this often changed the whole tone of our day. Number 6, big reactions to small requests. A gentle request could sometimes bring tears and anger, fleeing, meltdown, and even worse, shutdown. To outsiders, it seemed extremely dramatic the reaction over something that was so seemingly small. But when the nervous system experiences threat, the reaction for the person is real and the impact on their body is real. So that shift in understanding helped me respond appropriately with calm rather than escalation. Number 7, sudden distractions when work was meant to start. I'm hungry. I need the toilet. Where's my toy? Can I tell you something? Yep, but can we do this? Sometimes avoidance can look really creative, and honestly, sometimes it's a bit funny too. But knowing your child and knowing when they start using these creative little avoidance things, it's a sign that anxiety is starting to build, and it's your signal to help try and lower that down, or maybe shift some things around to help the child gain autonomy again and that feeling of safety. Number 8, being fine in other settings and then falling apart at home. This can be so difficult. A child may hold it together elsewhere and then completely unravel once they get home. That doesn't mean that they're choosing to be difficult with you, because home is often where they feel the safest, and they've held it together everywhere else because they have to, and then they come home and they feel safe enough to release the strain that they've been feeling. I try to take it as a compliment. 9, wanting help but rejecting help. Oh, there are moments when my child clearly needs support and help, but any offer of help is frankly refused and treated as if I've given her an insult instead. So this used to really frustrate me. Now I'm starting to understand that needing help can itself be very vulnerable and even slightly demanding. And there's an underlying principle in here about shifting expectations. So the expectation has been set that the child should do this on their own. And then by offering to help the child when you see they're struggling or they might need some extra guidance, they see that as you shifting the expectation mid-activity. And that's really difficult for them to adjust in the moment. Number 10, inconsistency. Oh, this one drives me up the wall, I have to say. Yesterday, she could write a whole paragraph. Today, we can barely manage a small sentence. Yesterday, we loved read aloud time, and today we can't stand it. This inconsistency can make parents doubt themselves, but again, it's so important to remember that capacity can fluctuate greatly when anxiety and regulation are involved. Okay? So what changed for me, the greatest shift was this, okay? I stopped asking, how can I make my child comply? How can I get her to just do what I want her to do? And I started asking, what is making this really hard for her right now? And how can I meet her where she's currently at? Even if where she's at changed day to day, how can I meet her where she is today? Those questions changed our homeschool atmosphere, and I'm not understating that. This is where Charlotte Mason helped me immensely. One principle that steadied me more than most was children are born persons. My child was not a problem to fix. She was a whole person who was deserving of respect, understanding, and wise guidance. So that doesn't remove boundaries or leadership, but it changes the spirit in which we lead our children. So if this is your home too, if your homeschool feels confusing or exhausting and so very different from everyone else's, you're not necessarily failing. You know, you may simply be teaching a child who needs to be seen through a different lens. And I just want to tell you that so many beautiful things can grow in that space if you allow it to. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear in the comments what's one way that PDA shows up in your homeschool. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.